Welcome to the Revenue Accelerator podcast. I'm your host, Kat Stancic, and I have a very special guest with us today. I'm going to let her introduce herself. So this is going to be as long as it takes, usually around 20 to 30 minutes. We'll see. But basically, we're going to be dropping some value bombs. All right. So tell us about yourself and what you help your clients achieve.
Hi everyone, I'm Minling Chuang and I'm the founder of Brand Fame. So, what I do is I help my clients with their brand message and positioning, but I do it in a strategic way and an energetic way because I believe that who we are as people and how we come across in our energies has a direct effect on the way that our brand shows up and that's what magnetizes people to you. So I work with my clients on both the branding strategy and then also the energetics to align to their brand.
Oh, that's
So
so
basically
amazing.
branding from their soul.
Yeah, like people don't get that how important that is. And a lot of times people talk about energy and I did air quotes, right? In a way that people are like, yeah, sure. The line that I always loved hearing was, "Hey Kat, you just need to be able to receive." And I was like, "What the F does that mean?"
You're like, I'm
Like,
open to receive. Come on
I mean,
over.
where's the check? I'll take blank checks, it's fine. So what would be like, because like this is an amazing strategy and the work that you do gets amazing, like ridiculous results for your clients because I've seen it. Hashtag researched you. And what would you tell someone who's like, yeah, I don't know what this quote unquote receiving is? Because a lot of people, my clients, people watching this are action takers, right? They're very driven, very focused, and receiving is a foreign concept.
Yeah, it's a great question because I mean, I also had trouble with receiving as well too because I'm one of those people like type A control. I want to figure it out. I want to do like the stuff. I'm going to go after it. And so I really had to reprogram this within myself. So
Mm,
for receiving to really take shape and an effect, it's not just wanting to receive.
mm,
It's understanding your blocks around receiving in all areas of your life. So we all have limiting beliefs. We all have our subconscious thoughts and beliefs that are underneath the surface. And if we don't believe that we're deserving of receiving,
mm.
like we might want to receive, like consciously, we want, of course, we want more clients and we want more money.
Right.
But if there's like a patterning that you aren't able to
Mm.
receive, like even if somebody provides help, you're like, no, 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 I got it. If
Ah,
that's the
yeah.
energy that you give off, that's also you not allowing yourself to receive more. So you want to start to identify and see the patterns in your life where shun like somebody giving you a gift or helping you out because you're like, I got it. I'm an independent person. I'm an independent woman,
Independent
you know,
woman.
exactly. Like I can do it all. I can do it all myself. But you want to start to notice those points and start to look at where did this come up when I was a child or where did this first
Mm,
come up? Because usually it's from children when we were
mhm,
children that these patterns come up. And you want to start to identify, okay, what do I actually believe around receiving? And then
mm,
from there, you can start to reprogram it by creating statements. And I also do other pieces, energetic alignments with my clients that I won't go into detail, but one of the things that you can start doing is to write down affirmations or new
mm.
belief statements around how you want to be, and then start to notice when you are about to say no, no, no. Take a moment and just be like, actually, yes, I do want to receive, and just practice that
Mm.
art of like if somebody is wanting to give to you, the art of receiving it and fully, even a compliment.
That
Some
was
people
just
are
gonna
like,
say, like, so many times people, like, go like, "Oh, you look so good today." "No, no, I'm having a bad hair day." It's like, "Bitch, please."
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
say, "Uh-huh."
Receive.
Even if you haven't washed your hair in 2 days and you have kids spit up on you, like, just be like, "All right, fine, cool. You're saying it. I'm gonna let it be my reality."
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Otherwise, you're just blocking that energy, and it's
Mm,
these little things that people don't know or notice because it's
yeah.
just been a pattern of your everyday life. And I have definitely been one of them. Like, it's been hard for me to receive compliments until I really got this, and I'm like, thank you. I like
Ooh, look
that,
at that. If you guys
right?
can see the video, she just, like, put her shoulders back and
Shimmy
did a little
back.
little shimmy there, right? She's
But
taking it all into your essence.
soak it in, soak in
Mm.
that essence, soak in that energy. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, and that's like one of the things that's really important is looking at like talking about energy, like who is around you, right? Like what kind of energy are you taking in? Are you filtering bad energies? Because especially as women, it's kind of like we're very protective, right? Where it's the
Yeah.
mama bears and things like that. And so we kind of take in all this energy. And if you're a coach or consultant, like you've got clients that maybe are in a funk and you're just kind of filtering that through and picking that up. Like, what's your advice for someone who's like, kind of, and especially empaths and they kind of just take on all the energy. Like how do you release also? Like receive and release. Well, okay, we're getting on
Yeah,
something here.
so well, the easiest way, I mean, there's different protection mantras that you can do. I'm not
Mm,
gonna go into all those details, and you can also put a protective bubble over you. That might be a little too woo for everybody, but one thing that you can always do is you can always ground into the earth.
mm,
So, like on grass or with
yeah.
trees, in the sand, in dirt, and just imagine yourself like releasing all of that energy from your body or space into the earth. You can also shake. Shaking is a really good way to
Oh,
get things off of your body.
I know I
So
felt good
like
after
shake like
shimmying.
yeah, shimmy, like shake crazy, like move your head, jump around, move your lips, like
Mm,
whatever you need just to like remove that energy. And I do shakes with some of my clients, energy work when I feel their energy is very, very dense and they're holding on to something because you want to like release that pattern. I mean, there's other techniques that I go through, but like those are like the simplest things that you can do every day and doesn't take that long. You can even dance in the morning. You can shake. I mean, you can put on, was it Taylor Swift?
yeah,
Doesn't she have
whatever.
one that
Yeah,
has like
shake it
shake
out.
it off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So like you can put that music on and then just shake it off and just imagine things dripping off of you as well. So
Mm,
it's really good to just release that because you don't want to hold on to that tension. Like if you had a bad sales call, shake it off. If you had bad client calls, shake it off. If you had anything that you feel dense and negative in, like release it, release it, release it, because people can feel that density. People can feel that heaviness when you go to your next session or you go
yep.
to networking and you're like, I had such a bad day. They're just like, I don't want to talk to you. You
Like you're
have a
faking
lot.
it and I can tell, and women can tell.
Yes, yes.
um
It
Yeah. So it's interesting because I have a story that happened to me that way when I was early on in my career. I'd put an offer out there and I'd done the sales page, I'd done the sales funnel, I'd done a challenge and all this other stuff. And it was a couple and like one person bought, right?
yeah,
And of course I was expecting all these people to buy because I put in all this effort. So I actually went back to someone who I thought was going to buy who didn't. And I was like, look, can I have a real conversation with you? And she was like, yeah, totally. I was like, why didn't you buy? And she goes, I can be real. And I said, absolutely. And she said, I don't know how I could tell, but I could tell there was a level of desperation in your offer. And that like gave me like a punch in the face because it was true. I was so chasing the dollar and wanting to close a client and I was so anxious and I was just it was coming through even though I didn't think so on video during my challenge, on the sales page, in the email sequences, and it turned people off because people want a higher energetic vibration right into their lives.
mhm.
That's what they're attracted to. So we kind of talked about like, getting rid of the negative and stuff, but how do you stay into that higher energetic vibration, right? That attracts abundance and that helps you receive.
Yeah, it goes back to the allowing, right?
Mm,
So, and I'm gonna talk about like leaning back a little bit as well too, because I feel like a lot of people are like they hear that on sales calls, or I'm in the dating world as well too. For women, you hear about like leaning back and like the guys will chase you, but then there's like manipulation tactics
yeah.
on leaning back. Like I'll play hard to get. I won't
Mm.
like email them back right away. But it's not this
3-day wait. You cannot text for
3-day
3 days.
wait. Exactly. It's the same thing. Like there's probably like there's stuff in the coaching world too, like
Yeah.
trying to manipulate them into but trying to pretend that you're leaning back as well. But one of the things that you want to be aware of when you're doing this is you want to look at where are you coming from and what is your intention as you're
Mm,
going in. So you
mm,
want to start to be very aware of, am I in that place of desperation, or
mm,
am I in that place of like total abundance and like everything is going to be okay? If you trust that everything is going to be okay, if you trust that God, universe, source, whatever you believe in, has your back no matter what. If you believe that, the right clients will always come to you no matter what. It goes back to your subconscious beliefs. Then you don't have to be in that lack. Yes, there are going to be moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any clients right now. What happens? Don't go into the fear.
Mm,
Instead, look at, okay, like there's no clients right now in this reality. How can I shift my energy to to feel better, to
mm,
feel like, what do I need to believe, like, to be this new person, this new identity, this person that I'm creating, this person that I want to be. And part of it is really activating that part where you activate the belief. Okay, I don't see the clients now. I know that there's infinite opportunities. I know that this is not just one client. There's multiple clients. There's multiple ways that clients can get to me or come to me. And you can even start writing down, like, all the, like, fantasize, write down all the different ways that clients could come to you potentially. So
ah,
they could come from like another person, they can come and just like brainstorm, like, so that you don't focus on that one person. And in dating, they always say you want to date multiple men at the same time, so you're not obsessed over that one
yeah,
guy. It's
yep.
the same thing. It's like you want to keep that rotation, and that's, I think that's also what you teach too in terms of lead generation. But you want to start to think about all the different ways that you could get clients, or clients could come to you. I shouldn't say
Mm,
you could get, but clients could come to you.
right.
Um, and so that you want to start to focus on, the abundance of, oh wow, like, maybe somebody will listen to my podcast and they'll just come on. Or maybe I'll go to this networking event and somebody like will sign up as a client. I get random clients like from all different sources, and I'm always like, where do they come from? I
Mhm.
got one person who listened to a podcast, like researched me, booked a call with me, and she was like, I absolutely have to talk to Min Ling. And then we got on the call and she's like, yes, I already know I want to work with you. Like, it was paying full 7K,
Yeah.
like, literally out of the blue. Like,
Well,
these
and
things.
it's this amazing concept that you're sharing, and you're really circling around it, which is just this being, right? And so,
Yeah.
are you being that person that the people want to work with, right? And so, how are you being? What and how it relates to what I do and what you do in business too? It's what content are you putting out there, showing who you are and the work you do, and how
Mhm.
are you showing up at a networking event? You're not going there to close someone. You're going there to add value and to be a certain person, and it's kind of the hub. So instead of being a spoke, right, going and tracing and chasing, you're kind of like, this is my space, this is who I am, this is how I be. And then people can, and you kind of like stand out because you're
Yeah.
not like part of the crowd. You're like, this is me, this is my space. And if you want to come with, over here and hang out, like, I got this really comfy couch. We can
Yes.
chill and we can do some stuff. What are kind of the results that people have gotten from, because we can talk about energy, and it can get, you can get in your head about it, especially if you're not as familiar with it as some other people might be. But how does this concept of being and this concept of receiving and working through past traumas and rewriting scripts for yourself, what kind of results have you seen that achieve for your clients?
Yeah, and I'm gonna answer that in a minute because I also wanna touch upon what you're saying around the being a little bit, if that's
Mhm. Oh,
okay.
absolutely.
Um, w that's the most important part about branding. I think a lot of people get branding
Yeah.
wrong because they want to be somebody else. It's not that
Yeah.
you can't be somebody else. I mean, we can always create our own identity of who we wanna be, but if it's inauthentic, if we're doing it because we think it's gonna get us somewhere, if we are going to try to be a coach, and emulate our mentors or
Mhm.
whatever, but that's not authentic to who we are because we talk differently, we act differently, we have different values.
Well, and let me
So
just call it out. What happens is the fraud factor gets kicked into
yeah,
high gear, because why would someone buy from you if they can go to the original source and
exactly.
buy from them? And then that causes all kinds of self-sabotage. I had to mention that because I know there's people, and I when I first started out, that's how you start. You're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna be like this person. And then you become a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. That's not gonna help you be successful. Just
Exactly.
side tangent ish, coming back to the being. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no, it's great. And so, like, you really got to understand who you are as a
Mm.
person and understand your own soul, understand your essence, and
Mm.
really understand like what you want to put out and your flavor of it and your way of doing it. Because otherwise, like, if you try to do something somebody else's way, it's not going to work. Now, you can have inspiration, but
Yep.
then just shift it into, okay, I have this inspiration, I see this, like, how can I make it mine, and how can I make it
Mhm.
the way that I is most authentic to me, and the way that I express myself. And in the being, you also want to be very clear on owning
Mm.
your stand, your message, like what you're here to share. So, I always tell people, like, when I first started, I immediately told people, because I come from a corporate branding background. I worked at Nestle, launched, $54 million products for Lean Cuisine, one product of the year, all the
Dot,
stuff,
dot,
right?
dot, hot
Dot, dot,
shit. Yeah,
dot, lots of
damn.
like stuff.
Just,
So
small brands,
small brands, just
whatevs,
little tiny
right?
brands.
Nestle,
I'm just like,
yeah, like
no, well, I know, my past life, and, but when I came out, like, I was adamantly telling people, like, branding is more than the websites, graphics, and logos, because
yep,
that's what a lot of people were fed, that you had
yep.
to, like, when you create a brand, you have to get your photo shoots, you have to get your website, you have to do all the stuff, and I was like, "No, you don't wanna hire a graphic designer, somebody that works on your brand, until you know what your brand is, until you know what it stands for, until you know, like, how you want to show up, the voice that you want to give. Like, when I first started,
Mm.
I try to be a little bit more witty than I am. And so, like, writing was a chore for me. And I was just like, how do I be funny here? How do I insert funny? Like,
Oh, not everyone's naturally funny like me.
I know, right? Like, I can be funny, but, like, I'm not like
Pun
popping out
every 3
jokes,
seconds,
like
yeah.
going, going, going. And so that was like taxing on me. And I was like,
Mm,
realized early on, I was like, oh, that's not me. I was trying to put on this persona, so it was inauthentic, so I couldn't keep up, so I couldn't show up in my
yeah,
own true self. And so that's why this work, that I do, is very, very important. It's like you're peeling back the layers of who you really are,
yeah.
and trying to find who you as a person authentically are. And that's where you brand from. And that, once you know your message, when you know, like, what your voice is, how you speak, like, you really do this introspective work, then you hire the branding person to help
Mm.
you bring that to life, and you are still
Mhm,
stewards,
mhm.
right? The stewards of the brand. You don't
Yeah,
want to give up that control to a branding um, graphic designer expert. I mean, a branding strategist will understand this, but like a graphic designer,
yeah.
because it has to have your flavor, not the spin of your graphic designer. I think a lot of people give
To
that
be able to
power away.
communicate that clearly to that person because, I mean,
Yeah.
they're working with minimal information. They're not gonna sit with you for 22 years to figure out who you are, what your values are. You have to be able to concisely communicate,
Yes.
what you represent, and that's what I love about the work that you do is sometimes people, we don't always know ourselves to that level. Like, we kind of operate on this kind of auto, reaction, subconscious level, right? Like if you think about
Right.
tying your shoes, you don't think about it anymore. And so there's things that are happening within us that we're not even realizing that you'll be like, hey, is that how you really want to show up? And you're like, is that how I'm being perceived? Because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Or doing things like you said, which is, and I've seen this happen with, successful and people starting out all the same, which is hiding behind their brand, right? And so they put this facade out there. Maybe it's perfection, maybe it's like you said, this funnier than I actually am person, and then not being able to be enough, right? And so talk about self-sabotage. How do you help someone work through that? Just a high level like review of, if you're wanting to be more you, how can you step out without feeling that vulnerability, right? That can sometimes happen as am I enough?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a big big topic. There's like so many layers to that, because it is a deep dive into,
Mm,
like, your stories, and like how you've shown up, like, it's I mean, the process is really starting to be aware. So awareness is a key to starting to make a shift and change, because at any
mhm.
point we're making choices, right?
Yeah.
Any point we're making choices, whether we follow our patterns subconsciously, or we make a new decision. But you want to first start to be aware that that's actually happening. So if you're starting
Mm,
to see, hey, I'm feeling this way a lot of times, start to take notice of that, and start to inquire, where did this come from,
mm.
what is behind this, and from there you can start to shift and pick new choices. I mean, that's like the very basic, but it
It's super powerful. I mean, it's just,
yeah.
what do you believe and what are you, how are you showing up? Like what are the decisions that you're making? And, this happens, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're in corporate America or you're an entrepreneur, a mom, or whatever it is. You're more in control of your life than
Mhm.
you probably want to give yourself credit for,
Yeah,
because, and that's that victim versus victor mentality of, hey, is this happening to me, or what role am I playing as this plays out, and what role do I want to play? Like that's the exciting part of, like, not looking at what's happened or where you are, but like what's possible, and shifting into that energy.
yeah,
That's exciting. So to kind of loop back a little bit, like, you do all this amazing inner work, and it's not just that. Like, it's like you could go to one person to do energy work and to overcome this, but you relay that into how someone shows up in their brand, which does a ton for your clients. What are some of those things that your clients have been able to achieve after working with you? Because you've had clients that span the gamut.
yeah. I have had clients all over the place, from like newer entrepreneurs all the way to 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs who needed a rebrand. So, I mean, and there's different like ways that I've worked with my clients, but once they find who they really are and start to break through those blocks, they show up differently
Hmm.
online. So, like, a newer entrepreneur, one of my clients, she had a pattern of procrastination that we broke through for her, and it was also around perfectionism. And after she realized this, like, she started to take action, and that action led to 5 people in her group program and 2 new clients that are one-on-one privates. So it was that immediate. I've had other clients, I've worked with like 7 figure earners who like needed to have their message feel more authentic, connect on a
Mm,
deeper level with their clients. So I worked with them one on one privately, did the strategy work for them, and one person had it. I mean, I can't take credit for all of it, but like $800,000 launch. But she does credit the fact that she was able to relate to her clients on a deeper level as part of her success. Now, of course, she had all the launch strategies, and I'm not going to take credit for that part. But but because she was able to show up more authentically, more
mm.
people are able to connect to her, and that leads to more sales.
That
And
right there,
so,
like, I need you to repeat that for people, because that is like big value bomb.
yeah. The more that you can connect to people authentically, the more they're going to fall in love with you, and the more you're going to sell. Basically
Yes.
it's like any relationship. You don't want to be in a relationship with a guy or a woman who is fake, or you fall in love with one person, but then they show up completely different. It's like a bait and switch. Like,
Mm,
so again, it's the same concept. It's like you want to treat a brand as like a real person. It's an entity as well too. it's
yeah.
it's your entity, it's a version of you, and so you want to make sure that you show up as your most authentic self. And that's really like what I do and help my clients, and I help pinpoint who they are authentically. Like, one of my clients, he's a DJ, and he's opening up a DJ agency. He was like, "Oh my gosh, Minling, like, I didn't know how great I was until we did our, whole deep dive branding like session." He was like, "I am amazing." And then and
Love
the way
it.
that he now shows up, because he was already like playing shows all around the world. He even played Nectar Island and all this stuff. So he was like already good before, like, we started
He was
working, but
amazing by a
he
lot
was
of other people's standards. He just didn't
exactly.
see how he was.
Exactly, and now how he shows up in meetings is different too, and the way
Yeah.
he's approaching clients is different as well too, and so it gave him another level of depth, because he's like,
Mm.
"Damn, I'm actually really, like,
I
really
mean,
good at
at the
doing."
end of the day, confidence is sexy. If you think about,
Mhm.
like, the people that you're attracted to, the people you've bought from, the commonality there is gonna be a level of confidence that they can support you and help you get results. And when you can do that for your clients, like, and you've got the branding behind you and the messaging is clear, like, it's like setting up your chess game, right? A lot of people are playing this checkers where they're just doing one move or whatever, but if you take the time to actually set things up, right, then you can see the whole board and really be strategic about how you approach things. And someone takes your bishop, take your bishop, you're like, I'm still the queen, like.
Yeah. I love that. I love that analogy. But also it's like it's setting the foundation. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't know if I need branding yet." No, like you really need to understand who you are and how you
Mm,
show up first before you do the marketing because your marketing won't be as effective if you don't
yes.
know who you are. It's like the foundational piece. And that's what I really want to stress with people because, everybody thinks, "Okay, I just want to launch a product. I want to do this." But it's like, how are you positioned in the market? Like, what is your message? Like, how do you want to show up? And until you have these pieces in place, it's going to be harder for you to know what copy to write or
Mm,
copy direction to give to your copywriter until you know these fundamental pieces and what your core messages are. And so it's super, super important for you to really understand. And one more thing about like being able to, sorry, I have like lots of like stories and
no,
like
you're
shifts and
good.
stuff like that. But one of the things to know is that um, you can shift by doing the work and shifting your energy
Mm.
because I'm an introvert at heart. I used to hate taking pictures, all the stuff, and I literally wrote down on my journal every single day, like I am a goddess in front of the camera. I am a goddess in front of the camera. I love taking pictures. The camera loves me, like every day. And I then took action and practice it. And now I'm like, where's the
Now you're
camera?
getting
Like,
modeling gigs,
I
right?
I I
Like,
did get a
right?
modeling
And
gig.
paid modeling
Paid
gigs,
modeling gig.
right?
It
Like
was
it's for
yes,
reals.
for reals. It's on a website. It's engagement rings. It was my hands and it's part of my face and stuff. But I was just like pose. I was so
You're a
happy and fun.
badass
I was badass. I
girl.
said I wanted to be a model at some point,
Right,
and
right,
so
and paid, like, it
and
wasn't no free
paid.
thing.
I'm like, hey, and that
But
fell in my
that's
lap.
I love that, and that kinda, like, brings us right back full circle of, like, what are your intentions? What is it that you're really wanting to achieve? Because if you're not clear on that, how is universe, God, source, whatever it is, supposed to deliver to you? If you can't put in your order or you're just sitting there looking at the menu, the waitress is never gonna be able to deliver the food, right? So you've gotta be really clear as to what you want and be consistent and driven, because you can't be like, "Oh, wait, hold on, I'm gonna change my order," because then that just screws everything up. And you don't get anything. So Minley, this has been like amazing. I'm definitely going to have you back on. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about what you do and how you can support them? Because what you do is absolutely essential.
Thank you. Thank you. So, a couple of different ways. So, they can go to my website, brandfameschool.com. There's a free It brand guide to unbrand your brand if you want to go ahead and get that. I also, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. It's at Minling Chuang. So, and I also have TikTok, although I haven't really done much there, but TikTok as well. So it's all at Minling Chuang. So MINLINGCHUANG. And yeah, so they can feel free to get in touch with me any of those different ways. I have different programs on my website, and then I also have programs that I haven't posted as well too. Uh, but yeah, so feel free to get in touch with me. I have a
Awesome.
program called Sacred Branding Immersion that I love that combines all those things together. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, go ahead and let me know.
Yeah, hook it up, girl. Don't worry, guys. Everything is in the show notes. You can always go find the links and everything. Make sure you go check it out because this is the real deal. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.